Hello everybody, it's Jiggly here. Today we're going to be doing a mid-season review of the Novastalgic Draft League since we officially finished week 4, which was the midway week of the season. There's going to be 3 weeks left before the playoffs, and we're going to do a little mid-season review and set the stage up for the final 3 weeks of the season, show like all the potential for what's going to happen, scenarios and stuff. Take a look at people's teams that have changed because the transactions period is now complete, so nobody can change their team for the rest of the season. So that's all the stuff we're going to be focused on today. And I'm going to put in... Actually, where are you? There you are! I'm going to put a little bit of me in there. Little VTuber Jiggy, or PNG Jig in the corner there. It's going to be joining you all for a little chat today. Anyways, we're just gonna get straight into it. So we're gonna start the standings page. We have I'm in first place, perfect record 4-0, with a KD of plus 14. The Infernable Dragonites, which is PM, in second place, 3-1 record with a KD plus 5. Chari, tied for second, but is losing to PM based on the head-to-head differential right now. Same record, 3-1 with a KD also of 5. Mops also 3-1 but plus 3 KD. And as you can see, their top 4 people make playoffs. But the bottom 4 here, while they're not out of it, they have their work cut out for them if they want to make it. And we've had runs in the past in Novastalgic Draft League where someone will come from way back and then shock everybody and make it. Well, almost make it. Chari is a good example of that. Starting a season 0-5 in a 9-week season 3 seasons ago, and then won 3 in a row, and then she had to win her last battle, and she won that, she would have been in the playoffs, but unfortunately she did lose that battle. But you know, these comebacks are very much possible. And we have the guy. Actually, this is not correct, but you know, whatever, we'll leave it like that. This guy right here, Mr. Orange Steve, the Miami Heatmore, is on that comeback run right now, starting the season 0-3, back completely against the wall. They needed to like run the table, win their last 4 matches to make it in. They've done the first part. They beat Nova, the New York Islanders. So now they're 1-3. If they run the table, they will actually make it. Based on a tiebreaker, depending on. Will most likely make it. It'll depend on other people's wins and losses, but about like a good 80% chance they'll make it in, because a lot of situations will look favorable for them if they do so. The Atlanta Solgalios, Jedi Land Potter, also if they win all their matches, they will also have a good chance of making it. But and then Nova also has to win out, but unfortunately for Nova, they've lost to 2 of the... So they have harder matchups, and it's going to be hard for Nova to win. We'll see what happens. And then Milk is technically not out. The Milk has like one scenario, and that is PM loses all their matches, Milk wins all their matches. And then nobody else from these 3 are also 3-4. It's gonna be a really long shot for Milk, but there is still a chance for Milk. So let's also give a quick little check at our Pokemon. Let's give them a little spotlight. Our kill leaders right now are Tirtuga and Grookey with 7 apiece, Magnemite and Meanfu with 6, Farfetch'd and Arkin with 5. And then we have Meowth, Scorbunny, Fungus, and Staryu, and Porygon with 4 apiece. If you look at KD ratio, Tirtuga has not died a single time in this draft league. It's only been brought to 2 games and still in first place. Meowth only brought to 1 game, was the MVP for Mops in that win over Milk. And then you have 3 of my Pokemon, Magnemite, Remoraid, and formerly Rhyhorn. Rhyhorn's not on my team anymore. But they've all been brought. They all have a 3+3 KD ratio, which is really good. And that is a big reason why my KD is 14 right now. I have a lot of Pokemon doing big things. However, as I said, a lot of teams have been shaken up, so we're gonna talk about them. These are the transaction pages. I'll go through every single team that had a transaction after week 1. So, starting from this row right here, we have Mops picking up Clink instead of Petalil, and then Chari with the huge changes last week that ended up not helping her out too much, unfortunately, for PM. Dropping Kufant for Galarian Meowth, female Nidoran for Carablast, which I thought was a really good one, and dropping Solus for Baltoy, another good transaction, in my opinion, from Chari. And she faces me next, so we'll see how she uses those. I'll talk about it more in depth when we get to their team. Then we have Nova's questionable transactions recently. Here we have Shelder dropped for Shinx dropped for Pichu, Venipede dropped for Mudkip, and then Shelder dropped for Abra. I don't know why Nova wrote in this order, but Nova gave up their only setup sweeper on their team to pick up Abra and made the rest of their team much weaker. So it's a big shame, I think. I think Nova tried to get like super offensive. Nova's team is already top heavy, so they wanted to go even more top heavy in an attempt to like power through the opposition. I just don't think that's a good strategy, and I think Nova's going to pay the price and miss out on the playoffs this season, unfortunately. Then we have Steve's transaction. Steve, who won their battle against Nova to keep their chances alive. They have dropped their Sun Core and picked up a Hail Core, Vulpix for Amara, and Charmander for Sandshrew Alola. And since Steve already had regular Sandshrew on their team, they had to ditch it for Sandygast. And that gave my eyes a little spark, and I decided to do some transactions as well. I dropped Rhyhorn for Vanillite. Because Rhyhorn, while it did it really well, it's probably the best tier 5 in this draft. I needed a Rapid Spinner, something else to support Wingull, so I had more hazard removal, and I wanted Sandshrew originally when the draft started, and I wasn't able to get it because of Steve. Since Steve dropped Sandshrew, I was like, yes, here we go. So I dropped Rhyhorn for Vanillite. I dropped my Galarian Darumaka, which was my Ice type, for Sandshrew. So see, I've dropped my Rock and Ground and I got my Ground. I dropped an Ice for an Ice. I'm still missing a Rock type, so I'm like, okay. Zora has not been used too much. I did use it last week for first and only time. It just doesn't fit the way I make teams. I mean, it's a good little surprise factor that I could have kept in the back for people to think I'm gonna bring it, but I just decided not to do it anymore. I feel like Lileep here is actually sneakily really good, and it's gonna be really good for my battles coming forward. I'll talk more about it in a second. So I also have already made a power rankings review. I will show my rankings, and I'll go through each team from bottom to top and why I think they are situated the way they are. Okay, so in 8th place, so compared to my beginning of the season to my end of the season, Jedi, even though they have a win under their belt, I have Jedi in last place. Chari has risen from 7th place to 4th place. Nova has stayed in 6th place. Milk has dropped from 5th to 7th place. Mops has risen from 4th to 3rd. Steve has dropped from 3rd to 5th. And then I have risen from 2nd to 1st. And PM has dropped from 1st to 2nd. So why has these changes happened? And why does someone with an 0-4 record is ranked higher than the person with a 1-3 record? Well, I will show you. I will show you that and more. But first, let's get into team matchups. So why is Jedi's team still the weakest, in my opinion? Jedi based on the way they've been playing very predictable. They've not been using the best of some of their sets. They continue to use they've used stuff like citrus berry or guava berry instead of berry juice and focus sashes. They haven't used many Eviolites. I have seen Eviolite in my last week's battle though, so maybe Jedi's learning a little bit on that roadmap. But they've continued to not use their team to the best of their ability, and they have a lot of bad overlapping team coverage in their team. Like Tyron and Mudbray is a good combination, but then you have Mudbray, then you have Golett as well, and that's overlapping. You have Ralts and Yamper, the worst tier 5 core of pretty much every team here. Plus you have Wooloo, another bad tier 5 Pokemon. Litwick, one of the worst tier 4 Pokemon, along with Rowlet, while as a good offensive typing, just doesn't have the stats or the speed to take advantage of that typing. So, and then Torchic is a tier 3 just because it has speed boost, and while it's a scary Pokemon, it needs that setup turn, and even after setting up with Swordsnet, it doesn't get all the KOs at once. Carvanha is so good, but again, Jedi has not used Carvanha to the best of its ability this season, and that's another reason why Golet's kind of bad, because it just overlaps with Golett. Golet's job is taken care of by Mudbray, by Carvanha, and by Machop, even because Machop has no guard as well. It's just a very like Pokemon, they all like run out over each other, and it's a huge weakness to water as well. Water and flying really runs through this team for the most part. And a lot of people have water and flying types, so that's not good for Jedi. That's why I think Jedi's team is the 8th. And battle wise, I just think they haven't battled the best of their ability as well. For example, even the battle they won, they only won because Steve was too cocky and made stupid mistakes. Let's take a look at their week 1 battle, because PM played a terrible battle in my opinion and still won. First of all, you set up on a Scorbunny. What do you think you're doing, buddy? Scorbunny outspeeds you, and you're not even running Focus Dash. So that's just bad. Carvanha comes out, doesn't use Psychic Fangs, it uses Liquidation. You're not running Life Orb. If you were running Life Orb, that would have killed. Life Orb Carvanha is a very legitimate set. Because of speed boost, you can outspeed almost every Choice Scarfer with after a Protect, and then Carvanha has really good attacking stats. Liquidation would have killed Scorbunny there. So you're just not knowing the metagame, not knowing how to use Pokemon. Then you bring in Yamper, probably to use like Play Rough or something, and and it just is just not happening. Yep, there's Play Rough. And here, what do you use? Crunch. Crunch doesn't kill, because Yamask is good bulk. Earth Power will knock it out. What comes out here? Mudbray. And because of the Rattle boost, you made Mudbray burn. Mudbray was the best thing against PM's team, and now it's crippled, which is just bad battle sense. If you put in like Rowlet and use like Sucker Punch there, it would have been so much better. Or not Sucker Punch, any attacking move or something. Or Machop with Bullet Punch. And then here, PM is not playing as well, like I said. PM wasn't playing, probably because they thought the battle was already over. They set up what? They bring in Machop. Machop to get some confusion hacks, gets lucky. Then Noibat comes in. Noibat is so bad offensively, so it can't really do much to Mudbray. But even still, it's a GG. That's why I think this battle was Jedi's probably best chance to win a battle. And they completely blew it. Or second battle, and they completely blew it. Jedi could have probably won almost all their matches except for against me. They could have won. They could have been 3-1 right now, actually. Even with their bad team comp, just with a few better like battle decisions. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case, and that's not what happened. And that's why I just don't think that Jedi is at the bottom of the power rankings right now. Just the way they've been battling, and their team comp is just not going to work out for them going forward. In 7th place, we have Milk. And why is the team at 0-4 in 7th place? And they haven't made any changes to their team? Well, they still have a powerhouse in Natsu and Koffing as their base, with Aaron as their support. Sandile and Baneri especially has been uber impressive. Execute is one of the best tier 4s, probably the best tier 4, I think, other than maybe Galarian Meowth, that anybody has. Or maybe even my Oddish. My Oddish is pretty good. Yeah, let's say that. I think that probably the best or second best tier 4 that anybody has in this draft is on Milk's team. Inkay and Execute are good both. They both have Trick Room. They could do sweeping. The thing is, it doesn't have a lot of psychic coverage on their team, so it's very weak to Dark and Bug. But at the same time, Koffing is a good stop to those Bug and U-turn switching, and most Dark types are physical. So Milk has a core that could still win battles, and Milk has been battling well. Milk has been crippled by a little bit of bad luck, and was outsmarted by a little bit of team building in my battle with her. There's only truly been one. I mean, Milk played, I guess, a poor week 1 battle against Nova, but they've learned from their mistakes. They built better Pokemon, and they came out immediately. And even though the scoreline was a bigger loss against me, Milk did play so much better. And then against Chari, they kind of built really poorly. They didn't bring. I mean, Chari's matchup against Milk is terrible already. Or Milk's matchup against Chari is really bad because of what she has on her team. It's just pretty much. It's a big counter to most things. And there wasn't much Milk could do. And I don't think she brought the right things to make it happen anyway. But against Mops, it was a perfect team build. She brought the best things she could. She got crippled by really bad luck, and I will show that match as well. Just again, I have a review already on my channel, but this should have been her first victory for sure. And why? Baneri does good here. It speed ties, gets the fake out on Meowth, amazing stuff. And then this is the unlucky turn here. Boom. Okay. That crit was very unlucky. It's a side effect of Milk not bringing Aron to this matchup, which would have been good for Porygon. But there's no excuses, you know. I mean, bad luck is bad luck. And then the 20% paralysis with Tri-Attack was also very unfortunate. Then turn 40. Execute's doing its thing, but it runs out of power points. Milk should not have let that happen, but you know, it's okay. And then here is where things get tricky. Milk try to use knockoff, which was a mistake. Okay, here we go. Here we go. This U-turn here at 4x defense, even though it's a 4x effective move, has only a 12% chance, no, a 6% chance, no, 12% chance of killing. And Mops got the roll that he needed to win. And I'm like, oh no. So Milk won the team building, got unlucky, and should have won this match. So I'm basically saying that even though Milk is 0-4, she has a better team than Jedi. She's been battling better than Jedi, and unfortunately has nothing to show for it. But that doesn't mean that she is not deserving of a higher place in the power rankings. I put Nova in 6th, but make no mistakes about it, and even more so after the transactions. So I'm going to do this for everybody that has made transactions. Milk and Jedi did not do any. I'll go over the new Pokemon because I have gone over like all of the rest of them in my team preview video in the past already, and you could check that out on my channel in my playlist if you would like. But we're going to take a look at Nova's new Pokemon before we review the team in general. So let's go. Abra is the only real notable one. So it could either run Magic Guard, Life Orb, which makes it an extremely potent special attacker with 105 special attack plus Magic Guard, or Life Orb, which is 1.3x. Basically makes it like 130, 135, 136 power, which is crazy. Base. You could even run Inner Focus to avoid Fake Out users. So like Meowth is very popular. Inner Focus will help against that. And of course you can run Focus Sash or something instead if you want to be safe and have it for a few. But Abra's either a good lead, like to get rid of stuff early, power through some things, damage some things, or it's a good late game Pokemon. Once everything's a little bit damaged, Abra with that sheer power could just power through. Moveset wise, Dazzling Game for dark types. Energy Ball. Screens, Light Screen Reflect. Shadow Ball. Taunt. Thunder Wave. Trick. Psychic, of course. Psychic is Psyshock. It's just a lot of good coverage, and it's just a great Pokemon. Gravity is a meme, but probably not going to be used by Nova. It's got a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff. As I said, Nova's team is very, very top heavy. They also replaced Shinx with Pichu. What a meme. So Pichu is not even that fast, unfortunately. 60 speed means it can hit 16. Static and Lightning Rod not gonna be used. Look at that stats. It's just so abysmal. Like the most abysmal. Like Nova could have picked almost any other tier 5 and it would have been better. I know they were trying to like the idea they were going for, you know, electric for electric. Shinx was the one that got replaced by Pichu. But this is just useless. It gets Fake Out. Cool. What else does it get? Nothing. I mean, Electro Web. Are you gonna run like a support Sash Electro Web set with this? This thing is probably never gonna see the light of day, if I'm being honest. It gets screens. I can't believe it gets screens. I did not know that. Nuzzle. It can't do much. There's not much it could do. Surf is cool. 35 special attack is not cool. This is not going to be useful. Mudkip. So for water types, Shelter is gone. Mudkip is here. Stat wise, pretty decent. It's just really slow. It doesn't have any setup moves to take advantage of its decent stat spread. Curse sweeping set could be decent, but doesn't get stabbed. Actually, it doesn't even get Earthquake. Oh man, I thought it would. Aqua Tail Body Slam. It has decent coverage. Like Curse, it doesn't have good recovery. It could do like a Shallow set, which would be like a Curse Amnesia, but it can't recover as well as it, so it'd have to do something like Rest, and I hope it doesn't die, and then like a one attack with like Aqua Tail could be an option. It's a tier 5 with some utility, but coming from a team that already has Feel, again, probably gonna pick the better one than Mudkip. So those are the changes Nova made to their team. Top line is still Meanfu, Trapinch, and now Abra joins that top line. Cottony unfortunately doesn't have anybody to like memento into to have, because nobody can set up on Nova's team, so it's kind of like bad. Actually, doesn't Abra get Nasty Plot? Hold on, let me just double check that. Abra, no, it doesn't. Okay, never mind. Fletchling is still a good, like, both Fletchling and Cottony are good tailwind setters, but more often than not, Fletchling is gonna want to do like a Swords Dance sash set and then sweep from there with acrobatics. So I guess Cottony can still do, utility wise it's still useful, but it's kind of like doubled up in this role by Fletchling or vice versa. Solanet's still very powerful, has not been used effectively by Nova so far. A good sash Nasty Plot set would be something I'd advise for Nova to do. Mime Jr. has not been used at all. In fact, they said they wanted to get rid of it, and I'm like, bro, you haven't even tried using it. It's such a good mon. Bad defenses, but yeah, this is why Nova is 6th in the power rankings, and they honestly would have been below Milk, but they had that victory over Milk. But back when they both played their first battle of the season, and Milk wasn't using optimal LC stats, and wasn't switching out at all as well. Milk didn't switch out in bad matchups. In that that was probably like Milk. That's fine. Milk is on the up. Nova's on the decline. And it all started from. Let me show Nova's decline. It all started from this battle against Chari, where they thought they had won, but the Shelter 2 times they've misused Shelter. This is why they got rid of it, not because they won't have, like, I feel like it's just a big shame they got rid of Shelter like that. Shelter is literally one of the gods, and they lead with it. Why are you leading with your late game Shell Smash Sweeper? They did that against Chari. Against me, they tried to use it early as well, and they just spiraled out of control. Just Nova making bad decision making. So it just dies up straight up. They brought Shinx against Chari, which is also kind of dumb. Just not understanding their team, not understanding the strengths of their team, and using it effectively. This is why Nova is 6th and should be in 7th if they didn't have that victory over Milk in the beginning of the season. They need to improve. They need to understand what, like, how to use their things effectively. Like, look here, this is a classic example. You're using First Impression on a Togepi. Why not just not use Earthquake? Why? Absolutely no reason to use First Impression on a Fairy type. So you just gave it a free turn to basically put it in range to be taken out. One of literally the best thing to trap stuff. No, it's gone now. Then you Shinx. Then Cottony comes out. Dual Wing Beat. If Cottony had stayed alive, I'm pretty sure it was using I forgot what we were using. Tailwind Giga Drain knockoff. Probably going to use probably should have used Giga Drain, not even knockoff. So this is a mistake already. Giga Drain would have probably put it into. I mean, it did have Berry Juice, which was nice, but like Giga Drain to get out rid of the would have done more damage as a stab move, and from Cottony's higher special attack. Just a few things just don't make sense from Nova. Then Meanfu gets to come out here. Meanfu is Choice Scarf. It has close combat. So for week 1 they brought high jump kick. Week 2 they bring close combat. And that ends up costing Nova because defense drops come in. Aqua Jet kills. So, unfortunate situation there. I mean, who knows? Maybe they would have missed high jump kick, but they brought high jump kick like they did in week 1. They would have won their battle. Like, not understanding that Chari has an Aqua Jet Pokemon in the back for the secure. Even if Chari didn't know it herself until she decided to use it. I wish I remember seeing it the battle at the time. It's just you need to know your team if you're going to battle, and Nova has the Mons but does not have the knowledge of their team, and if they can fix that, they could move up a little bit before the end of the season, and they need to realize that for like future draft leagues as well, because I feel like that's just a big problem Nova has, like in many draft leagues, not just this one. Fifth place I had Steve. Steve has made some changes, so let's take a look at their team. So we've ditched the Sun Core, and now we have a Hail Core. So, first of all, Steve does not have to bring Hail when you bring Amara. Steve could also bring Refrigerate, because this thing gets Hyper Voice. Yes, it does. However, Snow Warning is good because it has a Blizzard that doesn't miss. These stats are great. 77 HP, this puts it as one of the highest HP Pokemon in the game. I believe only Munchlax and Lickitung and Happiny have higher stats. Probably not true exactly, but the ones I can think of off the top of my head. Happiny is useless, and Munchlax and Lickitung are the only ones in this draft. 59 physical attack is good enough to use a mixed set if they so choose to. Gets Light Screen and Reflect as well. One of a good non-psychic Pokemon that gets that. Aurora Veil with Hail is going to be great to stop things from doing. It's just a free screen. Stealth Rock Setter as well. The thing is with this thing, it's 4 times weak to Steel and 4 times weak to Fighting, which are very common types in this metagame. However, because of its stats, if it runs something like a Choice Scarf set, it could, does this Choice Scarf one of its sets? Let me check actually. Amara Smogon. It is a Choice Scarf set, perfect. Blizzard, Thunderbolt, Earth Power, and then Aurora Veil. Or you could be a Screen Setter. 228 speed puts you at 15? Yeah, 15 speed, which is not the worst. Yeah, a very cool Pokemon, and this thing synergizes well with Sandshrew as well. Oh, can I type properly? A Lowland Sandshrew. Same stats as regular Sandshrew, right? Yeah. However, Slush Rush doubles speed, and Triple Axle is a crazy move for LC because of its damage rolls, and with that Slush Rush, 14 times 2 is 28. It outspeeds every single Choice Scarf user in the meta. Even if I put like except it'll speed tie with 19. If I decided to use something like a Ponyta or a Wingull Choice Scarf, I would speed tie. But for the most part, it outspeeds everything. Triple Axle and Earthquake is really nice coverage. Rapid Spin is good for Stealth Rockers. And Swords Dance. If you could set up a Swords Dance and then use Triple Axle, this thing could even beat Coughing. Actually, it even says so here. It's crazy. It's a really cool like a duo. Again, and then nobody else is running Weather in this draft, so Steve could freely practice whenever they feel like. Very very cool Pokemon. And then the last Pokemon is wait, what was it again? Can I remember without looking at Sandy-Gas, right? Sandy-Gas. So this is a really respectable tier 4 Pokemon. It's it's very slow, but it has a respectable 78 special attack and 80 defense. So it has decent enough bulk to set up rock polish if you wanted to do that. Does it get, it gets shore up, so it doesn't apt to just use this rock polish sweeper that it has over here. That's a good spin blocker too if anybody wants to like try to rapid spin. Like it could stop that. It's a great offensive typing, but its defensive typing is kind of sucks, and it's just 15. It's a really slow Pokemon. So we'll see is Sandygast gets used a lot. It's a good Pokemon. I wouldn't say it's better than Sandshrew, but you know he can't use Sandshrew anymore, which is why he had to get rid of it in the first place. Team-wise, I had rated this team 3rd in the power rankings before the season started, and while they have had a few losses that should not have happened in my opinion, the loss to Chari was kind of a team building lull, I'll say. It wasn't a good team build for Chari. The loss against PM was also a team building problem, and then the loss against Jedi was another team building problem. Steve has not used, again, just like Nova, they haven't used their team to the best of their abilities so far. They fail to see their strengths of their said team, and they've been trying to use other strategies instead. However, I think with these changes that Steve has made, he has understood that if you're gonna bring weather, you have to use your weather, right? Like, if there's no choice, there's no reason to like bluff it and then not use it. It's just not a good idea. You can't argue with Slowpoke Galar as a tier 5. It's still a free Pokemon, like a tier 2 in a tier 5 slot. It's still so good. It's just a lot of good options. A lot more offensive options than he had before. The only thing is that Helioptile now is just basically 100% always going to run a Choice Scarf. There's no like real good use for it outside of that. What else? Like, while Steve doesn't know how to use their team, it's still such a good team. I can't put him below anybody else. Like, I can't say, oh, Milk is better than Steve because even though they've won a match and Milk hasn't. I can't say that logic like I did with Nova. Just because this team is just so good on paper that once he gets it together, which he is starting to do so now, he's going to probably run over some teams that maybe get some fun wins that people won't expect, maybe even over me. Alright, 4th in my power rankings by a hair. In fact, I'll put the two teams next to each other. These two teams right here, Charis and Mops, are competing for 4th and 3rd best team. And while Chari has made some changes to her team, a lot of the underlying issues from before are still kind of there. Still a lot of like overlapping type coverage and stuff, and a few mods that I just don't think will see light of day. Although there's only really like one now that I don't think will be coming, instead of that's like the 3 from before. Chari's fixed that issue that her team had, but I also think that Chari had some like strong matchups, even because of how mismatched her team was, and she was able to like use those mons to her strength. But then against PM, we saw the real weakness of her team. She really can't stop grass Pokemon like Grookey from wreaking havoc, and she still really can't. I mean, Arkin is a good shout, but Grookey probably takes care of Arkin as well because of its Grassy Glide. That's like an exception. Chari lost her worst matchup. She's gonna have better matchups from here on out, and we'll see. starting with this week against me, if she could put me in my place and make me eat all my words and show me that she is not the 4th best team, and she's a little bit higher than that. But let's quickly look into her teams. So Galarian Meowth is her choice. If you look at the other Meowths, better HP, better attack, better defense, but much lower speed, and that is the debilitating factor here. I'm honestly surprised it's in tier 4 and not tier 5, because even compared to the other Alolan Meowth, this is very much like not as usable. Unnerve is not gonna be that useful because Unnerve works on berries, not berry juice. So a good set would be something like a pickup plus like berry juice. So like once you use your berry juice and somebody else uses berry juice like on the opposing team, you'll pick up their berry juice. Or of course Tough Claws for a big like physical sweeping set. And it has a good coverage for that. It has Gunk Shot, it has Gyro Ball, Nasty Plot, or not Nasty Plot, Play Rough, Seed Bomb, Swords Dance, U-Turn, in fact, Throat Chop. It has a lot of good physical moves. Regrettably, no Rock Slide or Earthquake though, which kind of sucks, but you can't have it all. A very decent tier 4 Mon, actually. Even though I still think it should be in tier 5, but it's a good tier 4 Mon. Wrong set. Carablast. Carablast is pretty one-dimensional. I'll show you all right now. Actually, I'll show you on here. No guard. Has to be its ability. 75 attack, 60 speed is nice. It's pretty much forced to run a Choice Scarf. It doesn't have to. But to be like most effective, it probably should. Drill Run. Mega Horn. Knockoff. And and I guess Poison Jab would be the 4 moves of its choice. If you want to run, she wants to try it, she has a Tailwind Mon and Arcan. She could try Tailwind, set it for support, and then Swords Dance sweeping. It could be a thing. Yeah. That's pretty much what Carablast can do. Carablast is a good tier 5 option because of its stats, but a predictable set. And then we have Baltoy, which replaced Solosis. So look at the stats, kind of low. 40, 55, 70 bulk is not the best. No really big offensive presence, but it is a good defensive rapid spin user. It is weak to knockoff, unfortunately, and U-turn, but I give Chari some hazard control because her team lacks stack hazards, and she could stop them from being set up on her team with rapid spin. Unfortunately, like I said, no good real offensive presence, which is gonna bring Baltoy down. Trick Room is nice though. Trick Room with Munchlax could be nice. Light Screen or Reflect is always nice as well to have. And Gravity. I'll never overlook Gravity. Let's see here. Those were Chari's 3 new Pokemon. We look at Mops' team. We look at Mops' only transaction of the season was Clink in week 1 for week 2. Clink is actually respectable. 40, 70, 60 defenses. 55 attack is going to be usable thanks to Shift Gear. Which breaks through sashes. However, its move pool is not the biggest. It's pretty tiny. So with Shift Gear, you get Wild Charge. You get Return. Oops. Rock Smash, Return, and Gear Grind. Yeah, that's literally all you could do. So it's a one-trick pony for the most part. I mean, this could be interesting. Recycled berry juice. It's probably not bulky enough to do that. I mean, it's kind of bulky, but it's like not that not that good. But it was better than the Petal that Mops had on their team before. So, because Petal overlapped with Bulbasaur. So, at least this gives Mops a little bit of extra, type coverage. What else about their team? Why is their team now 3rd instead of 4th? I was the only one who rated Mops highly preseason. I rated him 4th, and everybody else said 7th and 6th. Why did I say that? Their reasoning is they don't know what Mops is trying to do with their team. And I can understand that, but you don't need to know what you want to do with your team. You have good mons. If you can use them properly, you're going to win your battles. Porygon, amazing Pokemon. Onix, amazing for a tier 2. Really shouldn't be a tier 2 in my opinion. Growlithe, shouldn't be a tier 3 in my opinion. It's one of the best intimidators in the tier. The only good fire, probably the only, other than Ponyta. I know Charmander is a tier 2, Vulpix is a tier 2, but Growlithe doesn't need Sun. It's good on its own. Really good. So Growlithe's Shellos, a lot of Mops Pokemon, they sweep on their own. They don't work well together, but they do well by themselves. The only ones that help out each other are Porygon and Roggenrola. They could do some stuff for other people. Mops has a lot of single strike Pokemon, which as you saw me do, I was able to, in week 1, I was able to get around them by team support and good predictions. But I didn't think that I had a good matchup for Mops, and if I face Mops again, I hope I don't face Mops again, I would predict that I would probably lose to Mops, I think. Because Mops has learned how to fight me. However, playoffs are going to be different. Playoffs are best of 3 instead of best of 1. So I think that that'll help me a little bit if it comes to that. But Mops has proven their battle power. I didn't talk about this enough for Chari. Chari has proven through her battle powers. That's why she's in the top 4 in the power rankings, and that's why she's in the top 4 in the live rankings. Because she has battled out of her mind to win. She did great to beat Steve. She did great to beat Nova, and she did exceptional in picking apart Milk. That was her best battle of the season. So that's why Chari is doing well. She may not have the best team build on paper, but she knows what she's doing with her team, and I think Mops is the same way. Mops' team build is kind of all over the place, and with mons that don't support each other, but in the end, Mops knows how to use their team. They have had some questionable team buildings though. Against Jedi, I think that they honestly could have lost against Jedi if Jedi had played a little bit better. But they're going to we'll see. The big test for Mops was PM, and they passed that test and beat PM. The next test is going to be against Chari, because Mops has probably the easiest schedule from the end of the season. Easiest / hardest, because by schedule wise, he's already faced 1st and 2nd in the leaderboard. But matchup wise, I think that Mops is going to actually kind of struggle towards the end of the season. So if the teams play better, Mops could find himself in trouble. Mops needs to keep doing what he's been doing, knowing what he's doing with his team, and using his strengths sufficiently, and they'll stay in the top 4. But while Mops has the easy schedule, I think they're probably also going to be the most likely. Even if I put them in 3rd in the power rankings, they're the most likely, in my opinion, to drop out if something happens drastically. Alright, second on my list is PM. PM has made one free agent change, and it's Rhyhorn. I'm not going to talk about Rhyhorn because Rhyhorn was on my team. Actually, no, let me just talk about it. Why not? Rhyhorn being a tier 5 is crazy. I mean, I think Nova just based it on usage, which is kind of unfortunate because stat-wise, look at it. It's not a tier 5 Pokemon. 80 HP. Like I said, I was talking about Mara earlier. It's one of the highest in the tier. Rhyhorn is 25 HP with this. 85 attack is incredible. 95 defense is great. It's 4 times weak to grass and water, which are very common typings, and fighting as well, and ground. There's a lot of common typings are weak to. However, put it in a good situation, get support it, defeat its threats, and this thing could thrive. And that's why in its only battle I brought Rhyhorn in, it went 3-0. No 3 kills and no deaths. Because this thing is crazy. Like Rock Blast, Earthquake, Mega Horn, Fire Fang, Poison Jab, that's great coverage right there. And there's even more to that. There's a Curse Sweeping set that's possible. There's even though it has a horrible special attack, this is Lil Cup. These things could be useful in certain situations. Like you would never expect to see it, but it could happen. Superpower is also nice. Metal Burst. Icy Wind to slow things down. It looks like to support its teammates. It's pretty good Pokemon. And on PM's team, PM only had one glaring weakness in their team build, and that was Choodle. And now that weakness is gone. Rhyhorn replaces it. It's a much better, it's like the best tier 5 Pokemon in my opinion in this draft. That's why I picked it up in the first place. But you know, but I'll get to my team in a second, but I had to get rid of Rhyhorn to make my vision happen. And that's okay. Rhyhorn also does give PMs does have 4 tier 4 Pokemon. However, those tier 4 or 5 Pokemon, those tier 5 Pokemon are great. Sobble's stats are great. Esper's stats are immaculate. Yamask is a good defensive Pokemon, and Rhyhorn is a good defensive Pokemon. And me and PM are the only teams I think that have good defensive options to support their offensive presences, and the defensive threats can also be offensive if need be, except for maybe Marini. It's just really nice. The only thing I think is kind of lacking on PM's team is just that it says Noibat's kind of meh. Otherwise, PM has an exceptional team. And PM, first 2 weeks of battling were kind of subpar. After those first 2 weeks, PM's come alive. They beat Steve, which was important for PM, and they beat who they beat? So they beat Jedi in a poorly played match in my opinion by PM, and then they lost to Mops. Then they beat Steve, and then they beat Chari. 2 amazing back-to-back matches to put him in contention again. So everything's looking up for PM, and this is scary. PM has never won a draft league before in Novastalgic draft league, I should say. And they have a really good track record in draft league against me. So I may have dropped them to second in the power rankings just because of the start of the season. But like currently, we'll see if anything changes. Alright, I feel like it was a no-brainer. I mean, I hate to prop myself up, but I feel like I was 100% the best draft league battler up to this point in the season. I'm 4-0 in the standings. My kill-death ratio is way beyond second places. And my team, I feel like, is just so well-rounded. So, in fact, you can even say I don't really have a true tier 1 Pokemon, because Magnemite was originally a tier 2 Pokemon. Nova only bumped up because a really annoying mod, thank you Neo, told Nova like, oh, it should be in tier 1, yada yada yada. Ruined my draft plans actually, but I made up for it. It's okay. I've proven why Magnemite's a great Pokemon. A 6-1 in the KD ratio right now. Hasn't died since week 1. Galarian Ponyta finally got some action last week. It's been brought on 3 of my 4 teams, but only been used 1 time so far. And then we go to our tier 3s. I have 6 tier 3s. And we have some new people to talk about as well. So, I got rid of Zora, and I picked up Lilip. Look at these stats. 66, 77, 87 defenses. That's even better than Shelmet, who's on my team as well. I have 2 of the biggest defensive Pokemon on my team, both of them together. That's incredible. Storm Drain. So I have an immunity to water, which is nice. So my weaknesses are steel, ice, and fighting. Right? And bug. I mean, but bug is not going to be too, I don't think bug's going to be like the, something I'm really worried about. Its moveset is great. It has recover as well. Just like Shelmet. Both Shelmet and Leap have access to recover. Great defensive stops. Has Stealth Rock. If I try to do like a double hazard thing, I have Shelmet doing the spikes, and then Lilip doing the rocks. And if it's Storm Drain boost, I could get either use one of these attacks to do massive damage and Giga Drain to also recover some extra health. Also gets access to Toxic, which is huge. And other than that, I could use Infestation to trap them. Trap a bad, like somebody who's having a bad time. They could just like be trapped in the matchup. That'd be cool. Mirror Coat is also very niche. Psych Up. If someone tries to set up on me, I could Psych Up their boost. That could be really cool. I could run a physical set as well. Like Leap 61 special attack is definitely better, but I could surprise people with Sword Stance or something. It's just a very interesting Pokemon. And for me, better than Zora, which was not seeing much of the light of day. And then my other tier 3s, those haven't changed. Oddish is still a powerhouse, like a good steal for a tier 4. Sandshrew. Sandshrew was Steve's Pokemon. Why is Sandshrew going to be good for me? 50, 85 defense is great. 30 special defense is not the best, but you know, you could live with that. Especially because I have Lilip, Shelmet, Lickitung on my team. I don't really need special. I only need this to be the special ball. I have other options for that. I have knockoff. It's a good. I love my knockoff users, but with Zora being gone, and I wanted another knockoff user to replace it, and Sandshrew definitely does that. This is pretty much the set right here. I don't even need to hide it. Like, this is pretty much all you need to do. A good Rapid Spinner, Stealth Rock Setter, Earthquake, and Knockoff. I could even swap out Stealth Rock if I want. I have other options to do Stealth Rock. I could switch it out. Give it like Poison Jab. Give it Sword Stance even. I got options. This thing gives me everything I wanted. A second Rapid Spinner is the biggest thing, of course. And Vanillite is going to be my last transaction, which replaced Rhyhorn. And then you look at it, he's like, huh? This thing's kind of slow. 13 speed. It only hits 13 speed, Jiggly? What are you going to do with a 13 speed mon? 69 special attack. Oh my god. Well, I'll tell you. Weak armor. If it gets hit, it raises its speed by 2. If I'm replacing Steve, who's running a whole hail team, I can have extra evasiveness, or I could heal HP off of Ice Body. Then I can run Ice Beam. I could run Flash Cannon. Those are its big coverage moves. It also gets Signal Beam. It also gets Water Pulse. It has some decent coverage options to hit stuff. It also gets Light Screen. And it has Explosion, of course. So if I feel like it's used up its utility, I just go boom, 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 boom. So, you know, it's a tier 5. It's not going to be used too often, if at all. But it's a good replacement and one of the best tier 5s that was left on the table, I feel like. Probably the only tier 5 that was good for my team left on the table. And I hope I could use it at least one time. We'll see. But the rest of my team is so well-rounded that even with Vanillite, you don't know what I'm going to bring every single week because everything could come. Everything has like potential. Every one of my defensive Pokemons can run offensive sets as well. And the only Pokemon on my team I haven't used yet is Bagon. But Bagon, you have to be prepared for Bagon because one Dragon Dance and it just shreds teams. So, and I've also been battling the best, I think. I hate to say that. I hate to be prop myself up like that, but it's just the facts. I think I battled the best so far. I've won every battle I needed to. I'm going to have a tough end of season though because I have 2 of my 3 battles are against top 4 teams, and then my third battle is against, and my closing battle of the season is going to be against a hungry Steve who wants to get into playoffs. So I have a tough end of schedule, and but I think I have the team to combat that tough end of schedule, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in my week 5 preview coming up after this stream. So I think that's just going to conclude it for my power rankings. Actually, let me show a replay of why I think that my team is, like, just to show my battle strategy in a way. I will say it. I played poorly in my last battle against Jedi. I didn't play my best at all. That's okay. I had my off week. Hopefully that's just my one off week and not a decline. I will say that for anybody who's thinking like, oh, streamer saying he's first in the power rankings. How haughty can he be? No. That's not it. I could definitely be on decline. We'll see what happens next week. Okay, I'm in control of this battle. My defensive Pokemon Lickitung is killing stuff. It kills off on this is a special defensive wall. It kills a physical attacker because it has some good stats. To illustrate my point, Shelmet's recovery is nice. Spikes are nice. Magnemite doing its thing. This shows like the strength of my team. Then everything goes awry. I missed that. Wingull goes down. This thing suddenly can sweep my team if I'm not careful. But I am definitely prepared. I run the Endurer so I could live the superpower, and then I could attack again, get my sturdy back. This is one of the things. That's like another thing. I know my team. I know my strengths of my team. I use those strengths, and I'm able to win. And that's why I am 4-0 right now with a 14 candy. I'll be honest with you all. When I started this draft league, I was like very unmotivated. I was still really mad at how the last draft league ended, with Nova using all the hacks in their pocket to beat me, and it's still kind of salty to this day. But what can you do about it? It is what it is. I was not ready for draft leagues. If I felt like before the season, I was like kind of tired of draft leagues. I was thinking for a while I was gonna retire, I think, after this season. But I know most people are not gonna be at this point in the video because this is one of my first YouTube videos. I don't have any like particular strengths when it comes to streaming. I don't have any intro or anything. But if anybody's in this point in the video and they've heard this message, I was gonna retire from draft leagues after this season, but this season has changed it. It's reminding me of what I love about draft league. The eclectic way I draft. I'll show you that again right now. The way I draft is so weird. So everybody picked the tier 1 except for Milk, because Milk picked Wimpod. Everybody picked the tier 1 for the first pick. I did not. Steve basically picked the first tier 1 because Steve had a wheel pick, so everybody except for me picked the tier 1 for the first pick. I went straight into my tier 3s. Then I went to my tier 4s. Went to the tier 5s before anybody else did. Only one tier 5 had been picked up to this point, which was Wimpod, which was the first pick as a meme. So other than that, I was the first person to pick my tier 5s. I got the best ones out of the way. Then I picked my tier 1 way in the middle of the draft. The only reason I did that is because people still had I didn't want PM to take my tier 1. I didn't want like Mops to take my tier 1. I had to take it in the middle of the draft, but I still had the leeway, because look at these tier 1s. There's not many of them. I still was like, I'll wait till the end, and it worked out. I just love the drafting aspect. I love the battling aspect, putting together stuff. Little Cup makes it really hard to be unique because of the way stats are distributed, but you know, to have the extra challenge to find a way to make your team unique, it is something I love so much in draft leagues. I can't stress enough. This has brought back my love for Showdown and battling again, and I can't be more grateful to this format, to everything, to Nova for hosting this, and for everybody for being great competitors and great sports, you know. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and if anybody's watching this, thank you so much for being here, putting up for me talking for almost an hour and 10 minutes. And there's more to come though. My voice is a little bit too tired now, so I'll probably talk tomorrow, but it's coming soon will be the week 5 preview, where I'll talk about everybody's matchups for Novastalgic Draft League week 5. We got some good ones. I'll give you a quick little rundown of what they are. Milk versus PM. PM doesn't need this win, but should try to get the victory to keep their chances for getting the 1 seed alive. Mops versus Steve is the big match of the week. This will be, Steve needs to win this. Mops should also feel very motivated and feel like they have to win this match, because this is a big tiebreaker match if Mops doesn't win this one. Chari versus me is another huge match. Chari needs to bounce back after that loss to PM, and Chari does not have a good matchup against me, but if Chari could use her strengths, she could beat me, and we'll see if she does it well. And then we have another huge one in terms of whoever loses this match is basically out of the playoffs between Jedi and Nova. If Nova wins, then that'll bring even more pressure to next week when Nova faces Mops. It's like a good little chain of fun matches. So this season still has a lot to play for, and I am the only one who is almost certain to be in the playoffs right now. The only way I don't make it in the playoffs is if I lose all 3 of my battles, which is definitely possible, and Steve wins all of their battles, and even so, I'll have tiebreaker over Mops. So if Mops is also 4-3 and I have a better KD than them, I will make it to playoffs still. And my KD right now versus Mops' KD is plus 11. I'm 11 over Mops, so I'm looking good in that department as well. So I am going to be relaxed for the rest of the season. I am going to try to get the 1 seed, of course, but because I want that first round bye. However, at the same time, I want to face Mops in the semifinals. I'll have to think about all that stuff and more moving on. But everybody, I'll talk a little bit more about that in my week 5 preview stream. If anybody's watching, thank you for sticking around for so long. My battle with Chari 2 is actually going to be on Sunday at 5 p.m. EST. My Jedi upload will be coming up shortly as well for my last week battle. I will see you all later. Take care. Peace, everybody.